What's up, everybody? I'm Dr. Winters, and guess what? It could be a World War III out there. I'm not too sure or not. I may not even be here next week. Who knows? We don't even know what's going on. But that's not going to stop you guys from tagging me in these crazy videos every week, talking about teeth, dental crap, and everything else in between. Let's just go ahead and get right in the videos. Also, subscribe, please. I got to get this bracket off my teeth, and you have me hostage until I hit 10 million. So please subscribe. All right, extraction in traditional braces versus Damon braces, a twin experiment. I've actually seen this before. This is where they had two twins. They took teeth out on one, and then they didn't take teeth out on the other. And so actually, let's go ahead and go back through this so you can see what we got going on here. So this first patient that you're seeing here is basically one of the twins, and this one got their extractions taken out. And so what that means is they took 4 teeth out on this person, okay? And so what happens when you take teeth out on people is most of the time, you take them out because they're crowded, right? You only use about 10 to 20% of that space, and then there's space left over. So what do? You gotta close it up. And the way physics and forces work is when you close things up, things go backwards like this. And if this first one you see, we like to look at what's called the E-line. Now we look at a lot of different things, but this is just one of them. And that's where the nose, chin meat, and the lips should be right on that line. And so if we make kind of an imaginary line here, you can see that his chin is recessed back. Not only that, but his lips are recessed back too, because you pulled things backwards. And if you look at this next one, even though his lips are a little bit further behind that E-line, that can just be because of a big nose and a big chin sometimes. But you can see that growth of that mandible has really gone forward, and he has a much fuller appearance and a much better profile, showing that basically pulling all that stuff back and getting all that stuff back due to the extractions actually made his profile look worse. Now I will say, when you look at these two twins side by side from the frontal aspect, you can't really see that much of a difference, but from the side you really can see a big change. And this is one of the reasons why me personally, I'm a non-extraction orthodontist, while a lot of newer age orthodontists are. In fact, most of the extraction orthodontists are the 70 and 80-year-olds from back in the day. They learned this because that was the only way they had to do it. There was no other way to do it. So you were either gonna leave it crowded, you were gonna flare things out like crazy, or you were gonna pull it back and cause this. So they were just kind of doing what they do. They just have never changed with the times. Now we have things like IPR that we can basically polish between and get just enough space to fix that crowding without damaging that profile. And in fact, sometimes even making the profile better. So someone said, can't afford Damon, but will standard self-ligating brackets work the same? Now Damon is not that much more expensive than regular brackets. It is what we use because it's kind of the gold standard for non-extraction. It's called a passive self-ligating bracket. But even if you're a regular traditional braces and you're not getting extractions, you still can similarly get a result. The problem with that is there's a lot more friction in traditional braces. So when you're doing non-extraction, you can cause a lot more flaring and problems with the non-extraction, which is one of the reasons why they took teeth out in the first place. Now Limity says, I was told I need extractions and Damon braces. Well, you gotta remember, some of these old school orthodontists just use a new bracket. They still do extractions. They don't think of anything differently. And in fact, Damon brackets, because they're passive, actually allow for extraction spaces to close a lot faster. So it actually makes their job easier. It's just they'd never switch to the whole non-extraction point. And that being said, there are some people that still get extractions that just have super intensely crowded, but it is very rare, maybe like 1 a year in our practice. That being said, if an orthodontist tells you need 4 teeth out specifically, I would highly recommend going at least getting a second opinion from a non-extraction orthodontist, a Damon orthodontist, just to make sure that you're not getting bamboozled there, because I have stopped so many people from getting their 4 teeth out. But what do you guys think? All right, you guys tag.
Have you been flossing?
Yeah.
Then how do you explain these cavities?
I don't know where those came from, I swear!
I have ways of making you talk.
I confess! I don't floss! I'm sorry!
Apologies can't prevent gingivitis.
This is a funny video that you guys have from the land of bogs, and gosh, it is so true. Because I would say some of the #1 cause of cavities is not flossing. Because I mean, you could be cleaning all around your teeth, but if you're not cleaning between your teeth, that's one of the main places we see cavities, is between the teeth. That and on top in the little grooves. That's why you get those sealants when you're a kid. And actually, fun fact, I know you guys are always like, oh my gosh, it's so painful when the dentist goes in there and flosses. That's because you don't floss, okay? You've got gingivitis. It's kind of like if you had a wound and you just let it get infected and then you're just like poking at it. Yeah, it's going to be sore. But the thing is if you floss regularly, that pain will slowly go down and go away. Those gums will go from being nasty red and inflamed to being a nice light pink color, and they're gonna get more firm, and they're gonna stop bleeding, and they're gonna stop hurting. And then when you go to the dentist, they're gonna say it looks good, and then when they do their flossing, it's not gonna be painful at all. It's so weird how that works. And Buddy said, it makes my teeth bleed every time I floss. Yes, that's the gingivitis. That's actually a sign that you need to floss more, not less. I know there's some people who are like, I'm damaging my stuff, I'm making myself bleed, I shouldn't floss anymore. No. That's the opposite. She said me every time I'm at the dentist. I know it feels that way. The crazy part is there's nothing you can hide from the dentist because it is a physical manifestation of what you've got going on in your mouth. I can physically see it. No matter what you say, I know if you're lying or not. So maybe just floss and you'll have a better time at your dentist next time. All right, you guys tagged me in this one. I have no idea what that says, but oh my gosh, dude, that is the most wiggly tooth. Oh my gosh, she's literally just twisting it in her mouth. Okay, so basically what happens is if you don't clean your teeth and you get infected, well, that bone loss will go and it is going to lose the support of that tooth and you will have, oh my gosh, no support left anymore. And there she goes. She just straight up pulled it out of her mouth. Oh my gosh. And you will be able to, just like that, pull it right out of your mouth. And I know it's a little bright, but it's hard to see, but you can kind of see here that we've got like a healthy tooth structure here with a lot of bone. But as you get in this disease state, it will slowly start disappearing down. And this is what's happening where she's right here. She has this, there's nothing left to hold that in anymore. Now this is caused by a couple bacteria, P. gingivalis, Treponema denticola, and a few others. Basically you have that inflammation of the bone, and if you're not cleaning it, that bone will just dissolve away over time. And then if there's nothing left to hold it in, you can literally just pull it out just like she did. Now the way you stop this is flossing and brushing your teeth. I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking at these comments and I can't read any of them. I don't even know what language this is. But either way, I think the thing is universal, is just floss your teeth and take care of them, and then you won't end up with issues like this, because if you don't, well, every one of your teeth are gonna fall out like this eventually.
Oh my God, look at her teeth. Oh my God, look at her chin hair. What you got? Guaranteed you're not perfect either, honey. Have a good day.
You know what? I agree with her, because we aren't all not perfect. But the reason is you guys tagged me, and it wasn't even about anything crazy about her teeth. It was mainly the comments of what the heck is behind her teeth. I've never seen teeth in a teeth row, teeth like this. And yes, obviously she does have some recessions, she's got some cavities. She has not taken care of her teeth as good as we have. But like she said, we're not all perfect, we all have our issues. But what I'm here to talk about is those teeth in the back. And yes, that is exactly what they are, teeth. And she does not have extra teeth or a row of teeth. Those are what we call blocked out teeth. Now, when you're younger, and if you lose your baby teeth quickly, well, those teeth will fill in the gaps where those baby teeth were, and they will block out the permanent teeth from coming back in. And then they only have two options. Either they come out in the front and they become snaggle teeth, or they come out behind. Now, she had a rare case where her bottom teeth kind of fit right in between them, kind of hiding them. So when she opens her mouth, you actually see a second row of teeth there. Now, what could she do orthodontically? We'll see in a perfect world if she had healthy teeth and there wasn't anything wrong with it. We would use these things called bite blocks in the back to open up your mouth. And then we would use these little springs here in the side to push them apart, and we would bring those teeth forward over that gap, getting them crisscrossed over where they're supposed to be. Now, unfortunately, it does make it even harder to clean her teeth, and in her case, it's not the best idea to have a harder to clean surface because, well, it's just gonna make it worse over time. And I'm not too sure what's going on here, but everybody's saying they have trypophobia. I'm not too sure how this is trypophobia. I don't even know what trypophobia is. I thought that was like all the weird, like little circle thingies. Am I thinking of something different? And Nico says, dental care can be expensive, but tattoos aren't cheap. I guess it's priorities. And you know, we do see that all the time. You know, it's like people have jacked up teeth and they're like, I got a brand new Benz, I got a new purse, I got a new iPhone 17 Pro Max, but I don't have good teeth. And unfortunately, I would highly recommend you getting good teeth and taking care of your teeth, because that affects the health over your entire body, where all that other materialistic stuff is gonna go away and no one's gonna care in a year or two anyways, because it's gonna be out of style. But you know what is not ever out of style? A good smile. All right, you guys, a lot of you tagged me in this one today. We got some Invisalign. What the heck? Wait, hold up. There is no way Invisalign is gonna cause that. Let me see what we got here. She says, my dental arch is still loose. My mouth is all hurt because of Roacutan? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what that word means, but I do see down here that she says X class 3 in orthognathica, which I'm sure is Spanish for orthognathic surgery. So that makes a lot more sense. So she probably had a surgery, and if it's really loose like that, that's not a good sign normally. That normally means that it failed somewhere. And as you see, she's moving her entire arch. And a lot of people don't know this, but yes, we completely removed that that arch from the skull completely. It just detaches from the skull. You move it around and then you screw it in with these plates and get it locked in. It should not be moving like this. And once again, all these comments are in Spanish and I don't speak Spanish, so there's not much help there. But my guess is something failed in the orthodontic surgery. She probably had a surgery, you know, in these, and sometimes it does happen. Now, I guess there could be a rare case where something weird is going on, but if this happens to you and your arch is loose, don't post on TikTok. Go see your oral surgeon, you crazy, because something is wrong and you need to go get checked back out. I don't know. Maybe my oral surgeons can chime in down below and let me know if this is normal. Like, I know sometimes like you have the surgeries immediately and then they load it, but I have never seen a full arch loose like this just out in the wild, especially after a surgery, because that is probably not a good sign. You gave your natural teeth a chance. Time to get braces. I've had enough.
Blah, 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 blah. Ish, 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 ish. Bro, shut up. Shut up. Just
You know, I mean, to be fair, I mean, she has a cool whistling talent now. But this is what we call an open bite. And fun fact, this is actually not due to genetics or anything weird. It is due to a habit. Yeah, that's right. The same habits you have, like biting your nails and stuff like that. You can have a habit that's called a tongue thrust. And that's when you swallow, you push your tongue against the front of your teeth. This is actually called an infantile swallow. So when you're babies, you swallow a certain way. It helps you with breastfeeding and things like that. And then when you get to your adult teeth, you're supposed to transition into an adult swallow. Some people don't, and they keep pushing their tongue against the front. And what happens is time and force over time moves teeth. So you're gonna go ahead and push those teeth and they're gonna start opening up. And guess what? Now that you've got this nice little hole here, your mouth likes to breathe. It likes to create more space. And so what does your tongue do? It goes into that gap. And then it's like the chicken or the egg situation. It's like, is the open bite caused by the tongue thrust, or the tongue thrust caused by the open bite, etc., etc. Now to fix this, you gotta go into orthodontics and get what's called a habit reminder, where you get all those little spiky things you guys have probably seen on the interwebs, and that just pokes your tongue and stops you from sticking your tongue through there. And you just gotta retrain your tongue to swallow correctly into the roof of your mouth, not in the front of the tongue. And those teeth will actually kind of close back down because the pressure of the lips will pull everything back. Oh my gosh, Noya says, you can be a referee. I see some natural talent here. Yeah, you could. And then Seven says, should I leave the match, chat? You know, that would be funny though if she was like a player, like in a basketball league, and she's just trying to breathe, and like the referee's like, yo, I did not, who is whistling? I didn't call a whistle. But you know what? It is a cool talent, I won't lie. All right, my freaking braces made my gap bigger. Oh yeah, she got a gap there for sure. She said, this wasn't supposed to happen. Now I'm actually pausing it here in the front, and it looks like this is what we call a phase 1 case. That means that she still has baby and adult teeth. I can kind of see some back there. So why the braces are only on the front there. And so sometimes in cases like this, yes, your gap can get a little bit bigger. Your teeth can look a little bit worse before they look better. I like to say beauty is pain, you know? Now, luckily, as they go in and they're making room for things, more than likely what's happening in these phase 1 is the canines are blocked out here, and they're actually gonna eventually pull all 4 of these together to create room for these canines to come down, because she's probably blocked out. This is really happening because in those phase 1, they're only putting these brackets on these front 4 teeth. And so there's not like room holding back everything else, because if you're attached to all the teeth, well, you've got teeth to pull against and keep them together. If you're only on these front 4, well, it's gonna straighten them out, but it can't necessarily keep them together. Now, eventually she'll get what's called a power chain. That power chain will pull those 4 teeth together and will close that gap. So it's not that big a deal. And this happens a lot. People freak out. There's little gaps early or weird things, or teeth are uneven or whatever. It's fine. We know what we're doing. We're gonna eventually fix it, I promise. I love Tom says, get power chains. Exactly. You will get power chains. Oh my gosh, yeah, he said sorry, but I had to. Okay, her gap's not that big, guys. Let's be nice. And then Kinsey says, you have boneless braces. I've been seeing this term around. Can please somebody tell me what boneless braces are? But you know what else you can tell me is why you haven't subscribed right now, because I need to 10 million followers so I can get this bracket off. Please, I beg of you. Well, until then, I'll see you next week. Now tag me in the crazy videos, okay? I love them. Please. Thank you. Bye.